time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Dark forces. The new order of the Empire stretches its evil clutches across the galaxy, consuming planets with devastating results. Through many struggles, the Rebel Alliance has learned of a new Imperial battle station, the Death Star, with enough power to destroy an entire planet. Unable to acquire the plans to the deadly space station, the Rebels have employed the skills of Kyle Katarn. Known to most as a mercenary for hire, Katarn is a rogue figure who has a partial alliance with the Rebels. Armed only with a blaster pistol and an intimate knowledge of Imperial methods, Katarn prepares to infiltrate the Imperial base in which the plans are kept. Dark Forces is an amazing video game and one of the best first-person shooters I've ever had the pleasure of playing. Developed and published by LucasArts in 1995, it was the Star Wars take on Doom, and it absolutely nailed it. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and I've put countless hours into playing and replaying it over the years, and I can't wait to talk about the first 2 levels with you. First things first, we're in the agent menu, which is essentially a save select, although there is no manual saving in this game whatsoever. Our first step is to click New Agent and type in a name so we can differentiate ourselves from the many other people sharing our Microsoft DOS machine. After making a new profile, we're able to select our first mission, very aptly titled Secret Base. Clicking on Begin Mission brings us to the briefing screen. This screen shows up between every level to give us a general overview of our objective and why we're going to wherever the mission is taking us. Prologue Mission 1, the Death Star plans, Operation Skyhook, Phase 2 is at the top, which really makes it sound like this level has 4 different titles, but anyway. We have a confidential message from Mon Mothma, the senator from Chandrilla who first appeared in Return of the Jedi, with later canon appearances in the Clone Wars TV series. Yeah, apologies in advance, you're going to be hearing some useless Star Wars trivia in this video. The Rebellion is counting on the completion of this mission, Commander Katarn. I hope success is on your side, and I do too. Scrolling down to the background, we'll get even more explanation. The Death Star plans are locked away in an Imperial secret base on the planet Danuta, where they await transport to Lord Vader. Very little is known about the layout of the base itself, so I'm afraid you will have to act as your own reconnaissance. We even get a nice little picture of what it is we're looking for at the top there. Below the background section of the mission briefing, it's clarified what the mission itself is. Once you have the plans, get out immediately. Operation Skyhook will deliver the plans to Princess Leia on the consular ship Tantive 4. She will then continue the mission. It might go without saying, but I still want to say that the Tantive 4 is the Corellian corvette at the very beginning of A New Hope, which was Princess Leia's adoptive father, Bail Organa's ship. Although it's officially pronounced Tantive 4, not Tantive 4. I really can't get myself to not say Tantive after all these years. Yeah, sorry, this is the kind of stuff you'll be hearing. I swear I want to talk about the game itself, too. Our mission objectives are to find and retrieve the Death Star plans and then return to your ship on the roof of the base. When I initially started recording this, I decided that I was going to go through it on easy difficulty just so that I wouldn't have to stress too much and could get through the level in a more reasonable amount of time, but it was so easy that I switched it up to medium for the next level. Difficulty in this game doesn't change much other than how many secrets are in a level and how many enemies are in a level, so not much really changes. I just wanted more imps to kill. Let's jump into the gameplay. Now that we're inside the base, I'm going to take a look around. Considering the fact that this game is coming up on 25 years old, you're only able to look left and right with the mouse. Looking up and down has to be done with the page down and page up keys on your keyboard, respectively. It's a pain to adjust to at first after playing modern games, but it surprisingly doesn't become too big of a detriment once you get the hang of it. Stepping off the lift, we come across two oblivious Imperial officers that go down with a single shot. These are the weakest enemies in the game. I take a second to appreciate the texture work when a new enemy type sees me and starts to shoot. These enemies dressed in black are the Imperial Commandos, who also, for whatever reason, are involved in the process of firing the Death Star in A New Hope. After picking up this stuff, I'm going to loot the Imperial Commando. Killing this enemy is my favorite part of this level because he drops the E11 blaster rifle, and when I think about Dark Forces, no matter what level or enemy I think about, I see this perspective with this weapon equipped is my go-to weapon for 99% of the game every single time, and it's just so satisfying to use. Trying to open up this door lets us know that we need the red key, so let's head outside and look for it and also meet our first Stormtrooper. The Stormtrooper is definitely the most common enemy in the game, so they're kind of pushovers, but the real problems happen when there are a lot of them at once, and that can happen pretty often. Our objective is in one of those two doors on the way out, but we're going to check out a dark cave first. Thankfully, we can turn on a personal headlight by hitting F5, which at the very least lets us see the color of the area we're in. Across this gap is a revive item, which maxes out your health and shields. The game eats my jump input because I'm too late and already falling off the ledge, but that's good, because it shows the reason that looking up and down with the keyboard isn't such a big deal, because the game's auto-aim sort of compensates for you. It's not perfect though, you do need to angle yourself higher or lower sometimes. With that revive item obtained, we're free to head back to those doors. The enemy at the top of this elevator will drop the red key, but I'd like to take a sec to call attention to just how cool the enemy sprites' animations are. Seeing them fall over never really gets old. Now that we have the red key, I can show off the game's status screen by pressing F1. The first thing you'll notice is the map, which can range from pretty helpful to useless with some of the level design in this game. It's neat, but you can also turn on the same map during gameplay by hitting tab, which I find infinitely more helpful. Going back to that menu, we can click on the Web button to see that we have a modified Briar pistol, which is a staple of this entire series of 5 games, and a Stormtrooper rifle. The numbers on the sides tell us what button on our keyboard switches to that weapon. Hitting 1 just brings out Kyle's fists, and there's a specific level later on in the game where he punches the crap out of a big lizard called a Kell Dragon. It's pretty cool. The Inv button brings up our inventory where we can see the red key. Honestly, the screen never gets filled up too much, but it's really helpful to have at certain points when you're looking for keys in later levels. The Object button does what you'd expect. It tells us what our objectives are and also how many secrets we found in the form of a percentage. I've never really understood why it's a percentage and not just a simple you found this many and there are this many, but I'm not too interested in finding every secret anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. Now that we're back inside the base, we can put the red key to good use, which opens up to a lift and a lever. We can kill these mouse droids for battery packs that replenish our own battery gauge, which gets used up by things like the headlight I mentioned earlier. Our objective is down the stairs, but I want to hop on this lift first and kill that Stormtrooper that was taking pot shots at us before. I feel better now. Down here we'll see a really neat 3D hologram of the Death Star before hitting a switch on the wall that gives us access to the secret room holding the Death Star plans. I know it's just an objective in a 1995 video game, but this thing is so comically large, it's amazing it took the rebels this long to steal it.
This is too easy. Now to get to my ship.
Kyle Katarn, in generic badass Han Solo-esque fashion, likes to quip every once in a while during a mission, and it's always appreciated. Once we get to the end of this level, we get to appreciate his ship, the Moldy Crow, not to be confused with the Raven's Claw, which he has in later games. Technically, we can hit escape and end the mission as soon as we see it, but I like to sit and appreciate its landing animation a little bit. Also, yes, the entire game so far has been Rogue One, but 21 years before Rogue One. I didn't want to mention that just yet, but now I can, because it's a little hilarious to me that the entirety of Rogue One's premise was, up until the movie's release, canonically solved by a single guy with a single gun in a single level of a video game. And now we're going to get the biggest brush off of the entirety of Episode 4 in the Battle of Yavin you'll ever see.
Kyle delivers the plans to the Rebel Alliance. Soon afterwards, the Death Star is destroyed.
Yep, that was it. Now enjoy the rest of the cutscene.
But even as the Alliance celebrates this victory, another sinister plot is set in motion that will become an even greater concern for the Rebellion.
The Emperor has approved your test demonstration, General Monk.
Thank you, Lord Vader. What I unveil today will mark a new era for the Empire. We will be able to decimate the rebels just as we did the Jedi Knights. At last, the Emperor's war will be filled only with the glory and beauty of decisive victory.
A noble cause, General. I hope the demonstration lives up to your claims. Proceed.
With pleasure. Dark Trooper, release.
Very impressive, General. The Emperor will be most pleased. Continue with your project.
Certainly, Lord Vader.
Thank you, Commander, for responding at such short notice. The Empire has been keeping us on the run since the destruction of the Death Star. 5 days ago, the Empire attacked one of our secret bases in the city of Talay.
This is Tech Base to anybody out there. Please, we're under Imperial attack. There was no warning at all. Total devastation. They broke through our shields.
Tak base was destroyed within minutes. Many innocent people in the surrounding city, as well as the rebel staff, were killed. Intelligence thinks that this may be an act of retaliation for the destruction of the Death Star.
Interesting. This looks like it could be a normal Imperial attack, except for those sounds.
Very perceptive, Commander. I know you understand that all we discuss here is classified. This Imperial officer, Crix Medine, wishes to defect to the Alliance. He has supplied us with information on the development of a new Imperial weapon. Those sounds you heard, we believe, come from that weapon. A new type of stormtrooper, the Dark Trooper.
A new stormtrooper that can take out a rebel base that quickly? I should have kept working for the Empire.
The Rebel Command is not taking this lightly. They have authorized me to hire you to find out if there is a threat, and if there is, to shut it down. That is, if you are still on our side.
This could be interesting. Alright, I'm in. But I think I'll need some help on this one. I want Jan Ors as my mission officer.
Certainly. Then I will let Jan brief you further on your mission objectives. Thank you, Commander, and may the Force be with you.
Scott Lawrence has a really impressive Darth Vader voice. Definitely my personal favorite out of the other people who've taken on the role in spin-off stuff. But yeah, stealing the Death Star plans was a footnote in this game. That cutscene explained the main thrust of the story, stopping the Dark Trooper droid project before it can get on a mass production level. Speaking of Dark Troopers, in Mission 2 we get to see the aftermath of what happened after Dark Troopers were sent to the planet of Tale, specifically on the Rebel Alliance TAC base. In the previous cutscene, Kyle Katarn asked for the help of Jan Ors as his mission officer, and she'll be the one describing us our missions from now on. It's good to see you, Kyle. Good job on Operation Skyhook. The rebels were very impressed. Now it's back to mission hopping just like the old days. Rebel Command has made a brief reconnaissance of the area, and it's swarming with Imperial activity. The power is still down in the city, so some of the systems are going to be down as well. You'll need to find the main hydroelectric power generator and get it back online, and we have a nice little picture to show us what that generator looks like in the level itself. The Empire usually gets sloppy after a major offensive, so we may be able to find evidence or leads about this new Dark Trooper we've been hearing about through Crix Medine. His contacts inside the Empire will help us follow up on anything you may pick up. Good hunting, Kyle. So to recap, our mission objectives are to find and restart the hydroelectric power generator, find some clue to the Dark Trooper, and then return to the landing area. After watching the Moldy Crow take off now that Jan Ors is behind the wheel, we're greeted by TAC base. I wanted to mention while we run around and kill a few stormtroopers that we were told of and shown Crix Medine, who first appeared in Return to the Jedi as a general in the Rebel Alliance. Both this game and an older game called Star Wars X-Wing elaborate that he was an Imperial officer that defected during the Galactic Civil War, but they contradict each other about when it happened, so I just like to go with Dark Forces as being the real answer because it focuses on him a lot more. Anyway, that was a long tangent to say that he's an Imperial officer from Corellia who defected and helped the rebels out a lot. The Empire does not have very good luck with people from Corellia defecting from them. Anyway, back to the game. The second level of Dark Forces has a lot to offer when it comes to atmosphere, even if it's a bit morbid. We see huge chunks of the base blasted and destroyed. The music is more ominous and foreboding, but most surprising of all is that we see the charred corpses that the Dark Troopers left behind. There are a lot of them in this level, and it does a great job of letting us know just how deadly they really are. Pretty much all of the interiors in this base will be incredibly dark, and that's because of the hydroelectric power generator we're looking to find and turn back on. If we leave the headlight off, we can appreciate how cool the lighting in this game is with all the blaster shots going off. For an MS-DOS game, the atmosphere can be really, really impressive. My very first playthrough of this game, way back when, had me running around up here for a lot longer than I'd care to admit before I realized I just needed to jump over this little railing here. You may have noticed that I crouch a lot when I shoot, especially if there are a lot of enemies. I have no idea if this actually accomplishes anything. It's legitimately just muscle memory of me thinking that it did do something years years and years ago, and it's always stuck with me every time I've gone back to it. Oh, I should also mention that none of the doors work either since the power is off. It's a nice little detail. Wrapping around the halls of this building here, we can see a platform with a door in the center of the water. That's our goal, but we obviously can't get there now. The Imperial commandos in the window here are nice enough to let me take care of them early by sniping them. Where we need to get to is actually behind that white door we just passed on the left there, but we need to get the generator back on before we can get past it. Now we're in the more residential area of TAC base, and the destruction here is even more clear. I don't focus on it too much here, but there are a lot of corpses and rubble. This part here might be a little hard to make out because it's so dark, but all of the enemies are standing in a line at what looks like a bar and don't realize you're there until you get a little closer. There's quite a few enemies in this building in a really small proximity, and that's what melts your shields down. I got through without too much of a problem though, thankfully. Jumping down here, we'll finally find the generator and use one of its turbines to get us to the control panel. Turning it on causes the turbines to start spinning because that's what turbines do, and we have to wait for one of the other ones to pass by so we can get back the way we came. You might notice that the moving object is a solid block of a single color, and that's true for every moving surface in the game, which is due to the limitations of the game engine as far as I'm aware. Also, it's neat that the map represents moving objects with actual motion. And now as we come back in here, the lights are on, so we can appreciate the interior a little bit more and be kind of disgusted that if this was a bar, the Imperials were just casually drinking next to rotting corpses. Lovely. Gotta love the Empire. All the doors in the entire level work now, so we can open up the one we couldn't before in the residential area, but the one we really want is the one I mentioned being our goal earlier, the white one. Turns out one of the Imperial commandos that I shot through the window lived, and that's lame. Once he's out of the way, we can flip the switch and watch the bridge rotate around for us, and then go to it to use it. And then we can watch it rotate again one more time. On the other side is the actual rebel base. We have to go forward, but there's a small explorable path to the right that leads to the base as well through an aqueduct, but I end up wanting to show off the straightforward way instead, so I end up hopping back through the water, which is way quicker than just swimming. Now we're back where the aqueduct would have taken us anyway. I wouldn't have actually missed out on that much showing you that way instead. Oh well. Through this door is a ton of Imperials, and we're going to spam our E11 and bunny hop like crazy to avoid taking as much damage as we could, because, call me crazy, but something tells me crouching wouldn't be very beneficial when you don't have the high ground. Although, now that I think about it, the last time someone in Star Wars tried to attack from the low ground by jumping, they lost an arm and both legs. I guess Kyle Katarn is just that good. On the second story is a door that leads to 2 Imperial commandos, a stormtrooper, and a stupid huge gun.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Looks like I found something that can help us out.
Get back to the landing pad and I'll meet you there.
I guess Kyle just straps it to his back or something. If we were playing as a lesser protagonist, we'd probably have our movement speed slowed down by 50% or something. Before we leave, there's one more room on the bottom floor with a secret. Well, I don't know if the game actually considers it a secret, and I don't check in this video, but it qualifies as a secret in my mind. All you have to do is crouch and hit a little switch to open up a compartment for medkits that heal your health, which we're full on, so it doesn't really matter. Now you'd think it'd be a leisurely stroll back to the landing pad, but unfortunately a few of the enemies seem to have respawned. There's definitely a lot less than the first time we came through, but there's still something we have to deal with. Let's wait for the bridge a third time and get antsy because it's an old school first person shooter and we're not moving at top speed constantly, and that's not fun. All of the doors to the houses out here are open now, but all they really have are shield pickups and we really don't need more of that, so I'll make a beeline to the exit instead. This orange door, which is very reminiscent of the doors in Mos Eisley on Tatooine and A New Hope, is open now and leads into the area I was using to show off the lighting at the beginning of the level. Popping into the first room on the left, we'll find shield and health pickups, but more importantly, a Rebel Alliance logo that gives us an extra life, which will definitely come in handy when I get to the more difficult levels later down the road in this playthrough. With our mission objectives complete, Jan brings the Moldy Crow back into view. Unfortunately, we have to end the video right here because it throws us straight into the next mission briefing with no cutscene to speak of. And those were the first 2 missions of Star Wars Dark Forces. I hope you enjoyed seeing them. It was a ton of fun to make this video. It was honestly a little tough to decide to do an ASMR video based on a shooter in general, let alone one this old, but I hope you still found it relaxing with the audio levels and sound effects being what they are. More importantly, just to avoid me rambling for a really long time, if it seems like a game you'd enjoy that you haven't played it, despite its age, I highly recommend picking it up on Steam or GOG. Like most games for sale that are this old, it comes pre-packaged with DOSBox and it runs well enough on its own, but for the best experience you'll want to take a look at these settings over at the PC Gaming Wiki. I put a link to it in the description below, so definitely check that out. And I'd also like to recommend not trying the source port of the game, which is called Dark XL, if it's your first playthrough. It's very incomplete, hasn't been updated in years, and feels nothing like the original game, at least to me. Anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself, stay safe, and I will see you in my next one. Hopefully, if you're interested.